First off, I want to mention this is not meant to be a tutorial whatsoever. I just decided to bust out the old Sega Genesis and clean up the old cartridges, so don't take this as something like, what the hell? Well, he's supposed to be teaching me something. Well, I'm not teaching you nothing. I'm just cleaning up my stuff. So anyway, my method is start with alcohol and then scrub it down after it's dried with an eraser, and then scrub it down with alcohol again. I wasn't going too far out there and actually getting all the corrosion off, but in most cases it did come off, and as long as the cartridges were working, then I didn't set them aside. I just put them in the box. Now this wasn't actually my main priority. In fact, I was cleaning up the shell and found out that there were some issues with the console still, so before packing it back up into a box, I decided why not just fix everything all at once and call it a day. Now as you can see here, this trace is actually very bad. I'm surprised the cartridge even works after this, but it really does, so I didn't go any further. I didn't really bother. So I did clean up the shell and the controllers, and also I cleaned the cartridge port by scrubbing it with a toothbrush and 99% alcohol so it doesn't rust. Now this one wasn't in the best of shape. I couldn't get it to play in the first place. As you can tell, there are some smudges. Nothing too major. And by the end of it, it turned out just fine. There are some, like those 4 in the middle there, those were pretty bad, but hey, whatever. It ended up working. Now the Lion King. This one was probably one of the worst ones I had, as you'll see in a moment. See, that's not too bad there. I mean, there's some speckles, but that all the way to the left there, holy crap. Now, I didn't actually show on camera after I cleaned it up. I don't know how I lost that footage, but it did turn out to be pretty good. Like, hardly even noticeable. Now the Sega. This was my main problem. The old cable wiggle. Now I thought it may be the adapter at first, and I tried wiggling it around, checking it out, and it wasn't. So I decided to crack the old console back open and get down to business. Now back in the day, I had a Model 1 Genesis, and the Model 2 was always kind of ugly to me. I don't know what it was. But the console itself was never really a great thing to me either. I mean, Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead were probably the only games I actually liked for it. I also had Altered Beast, but you know, that wasn't that great. So right here what I'm doing is basically reflowing the solder. I just wanted to add a little bit to it and make it more sturdy. And hopefully that would fix my wiggly plug issue. On the topic of Sega games though, there was a few that were okay, like X-Men. X-Men. Hey, Sonic! That was a Sega game. That was something I played. Sonic 2. The other ones kinda sucked, but Sonic 2 was the shit. Tasmania. It wasn't that great, but it was another game I remember. And Mortal Kombat had a blood code. That's for sure. Krusty's Funhouse. I played that more for Sega than I did for Super Nintendo, so that's something. Well, anyway. Now, while I was here, I figured, why not, touch up the cartridge slot itself. I admit, I bridged a few connections. You'll have that. There's actually one more problem with this that I came to notice, is the bass doesn't really show up too well. I mean, I know Sega has the worst sound in the world. It's got that tang, ting, ting, a bring, whatever you want to call it. It's just terrible to begin with. But I noticed that my sound is a little off, so rather than replace all the capacitors, which I should probably do in the first place, I'm looking around to figure out which capacitors mess with the sound. Because it's Sega, and I don't want to waste capacitors. Yeah. That's right, I said waste. Sega's a waste. So that basically does it for this video. The rest of the point here is just putting everything back together. Nothing too interesting. And now I can put it in my closet and forget about it for the rest of my life. Well, until I figure out the capacitor thing. If I ever decide to do that. Which I probably won't. I actually still have another one of these that I need to clean up, but never got around to. I think it's out in my car somewhere. So maybe one of these days I'll bust that one out too, and probably won't do that on camera because I already did this. And this is what you got. See here, back together, wiggle wiggle, just fine. Mission accomplished. Now back to the closet.